Hi, hello, welcome back. Welcome to the third vlog for NaNoWriMo. Just some stats for where we're at. I just posted the weekend vlog. We're a little over 10,000 words now. Very exciting. I'll be honest, there are a couple things that have kind of popped up that I think I need to do a little bit more prepping for almost. Like I think I need to go through what I have written out to as the summaries for the next few scenes and kind of reorganize them a little bit and also make a plan for the next few scenes or so, or from the point that I'm at right now to the beginning of Act 2. I also think I need to sit down and have a brain dump, just writing session of trying to work through something that it's not a plot hole. It's not really an issue yet, but I know that it could become an issue. It has to do with a particular way that I want the story to end, and it's actually going to affect things now, which is why I need to start working through that. So yeah, today I am going to do a bit of writing, but I think that a lot of today is going to be kind of brainstorming and reorganizing myself, which I will talk about a little bit later because I want to go into more depth on how I've been kind of plotting as I go and how I've been planning out scenes and kind of what my process has been for NaNoWriMo so far. I also wanted to quickly mention the partner of this video, which is going to be Louisa. I have partnered with them countless times before. I've been partnering with them for probably the past 3 years or so, and I will continue to do so because all of the jewelry that I have from them has just stayed in such great condition. And I've mentioned this before, but I pretty much put it through hell. I wear it basically all the time when you're not supposed to wear jewelry. I sleep in it, and it's still stayed in just such good condition. And I find that the pieces that they create are always so they're so subtle and kind of classic and elegant, but they also have interesting little twists on the designs. I love getting their pieces that are snake pieces or kind of celestial pieces, because they're always beautiful standard everyday pieces, but they also have something that's a little bit more interesting about them. So as many of you know, I have a lot of pieces from Louisa already. So this time around, 2 of the pieces that I received are going to be gifted to my friend. I'm not gonna lie, the pair of earrings I will probably steal from her at least once, because I think they're so fun and they're a pair that I've been eyeing up anyways. So I ended up getting this beautiful pair of almost tortoiseshell patterned earrings and then a very simple gold chain with the little balls on it, which this is for her as well. I have a very similar one that has a little sun pendant on it, which is beautiful. I wear it all the time. So I picked up those ones for her, and then the one that I will be wearing and I will be putting on right now is this beautiful gold chain. This is also one of my favorite kinds of necklaces to get to layer with other necklaces, which many of you have probably noticed that I layer a lot of necklaces, usually as many as I can possibly fit around my neck. Currently they are having a sale, and they will be having more sales as we get into the holiday season. So if you have ever looked at any of the pieces, now might be the chance to pick one up and see how you like it. So I will leave that linked down below so that you can check them out. And thank you so much to Louisa for partnering with me on this video. So it's already quite late in the day. I need to call my mom before I forget to do that. And then I think we're going to try and alternate between writing sprints and work sprints, because I am really struggling to stay focused on one thing today, which means we need to start to change it up. am desperately hoping that you cannot hear the friggin' dryer in the background of this because it is so loud. There's something wrong with it and it's squeaking. So I'm just hoping that you can't really hear it, and if you can hear it, then I'm hoping it's very, very quiet and it's not bothering you nearly as much as it's bothering me. I just wanted to do a little update on how NaNoWriMo is going so far. I did have to put a little bit of a pause on the drafting, I guess, which is NaNoWriMo, I guess, if you're following the rules, and do a little bit of brainstorming and kind of pushing through and getting some answers for things that I needed answers for. So I ended up doing about 700 words of re-outlining yesterday. I wasn't sure if I was going to count outlining words. I'm not opposed to it. In fact, I've done that before in past nanos, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it for this one, only because I felt like I had lots of words in me. And to be fair, I think the first few days I got a lot of those words out. I mean, the first few days I hit 10,000 words, and having 10,000 words in you without having to re-outline or question anything is pretty good, if you ask me. So this past weekend, when I hit the 10,000 is kind of when I started to run into a couple questions that I needed answered in order to continue. In the past, I have actually just continued forwards anyways, and that has resulted in having some manuscripts that don't necessarily make sense. Because the thing is that if you're writing a story and you get, you're still within the first act, and a question pops up for you that you don't necessarily know how to answer. In the past, I've been oh, just keep writing. That's what everyone says, just keep writing. And sometimes that might be the answer. But for me in this story in particular, I know that if I continue writing with the type of question that I had, because it has to do with one of the antagonists and kind of their own motivations, I knew that if I did not get this question answered, at least 90% answered, then that would affect the rest of the entire story. I think it's about knowing when to keep pushing through and allow the answers to come to you, and knowing when to take a pause and look for the answers, because you know that if you keep writing without those answers, it's going to set off a chain reaction that will not be positive. So there was a little bit of that going on, which is totally fair. I've also been, I think I've mentioned probably, but I'm feeling slightly burnt out sometimes. It kind of feels like I'm bordering or moving towards getting burnt out sometimes, which I think part of healing from burnout is this back and forth of feeling like you're going towards burnout and then feeling good and you're healing, and kind of just back and forth. Healing from burnout is not a linear thing. And lately I've been feeling like I'm getting close to the edge of burnout again, which is not ideal. So yesterday I ended up going to one of the university campuses that are in Vancouver and doing some work there, just because it was far enough away from my house that I wouldn't just come back home when I didn't feel like getting through my work, which sometimes happens when I go to cafes that are close by. And honestly, it was really nice to actually be in the space of a university campus again, because obviously I haven't been on a campus since a couple years ago when I finished school. But it was honestly really nice because you're surrounded by other people who are also working, because they're all there to study. It's also really nice because the cafes on campus expect you to be there with your laptop, so everywhere has outlets and Wi-Fi. So I got out of the house yesterday and went to work on campus, which was fantastic. And then I had to do a little bit of editing my poetry collection. I think that's also, I'll probably slow down on NaNoWriMo stuff for at least a few days, probably to the end of this week, just because I really need to get the final draft of this poetry collection finished. I also need to make an actual announcement video for it, which I still haven't, but it's fine because I'm feeling pretty chill about it, to be honest. But I did that, and then I did brainstorming to answer this question that needed to be answered before continuing on Project Geo anyways. One thing I also kind of wanted to quickly chat about was how I'm kind of managing re-outlining and adjusting plot as I'm moving through NaNoWriMo. I feel again, because there's such big word counts and such a fast-paced writing timeline during November, I kind of wanted to touch on how I'm trying to maintain the outline without things completely crashing and burning and not making sense anymore. And I think something that has really worked actually is taking the time every few days or so when you're writing this much to kind of like take a pause and review the outline again. This is also why I feel like there's nothing wrong with counting the words that you put towards re-outlining or adding to the plot, because when you put the pressure on yourself that those words don't count towards the rough draft anymore, you're more likely to skip those words because you feel like there's more value on the actual rough draft words. So then it kind of makes you feel like you don't have time or you don't have the writing capacity to sit down and review the outline and re-outline and change things where needed, because you think that your time needs to go towards just getting those rough draft words and that's it. So something that I like to do during NaNoWriMo is every few days or so, or whenever I feel like I need it, I will sit down and review the outline like I have done. I'll review the outline, I'll look into what my characters need and what their wants are, and I'll kind of just review everything that has set up the story and make sure that I'm still in line with that. And I will also allow myself to count those words, because I've already learned this from NaNoWriMo before, that plowing through 50,000 words in a month, getting the words out is great, and it's always good to just continue writing to work on that muscle. But there's also a balance to it, because if you want to finish the story after you've hit 50,000, or you want to edit it at some point, it's just like so much more difficult to edit it when you were just getting out the words for the sake of getting words, and when you were kind of skipping the other parts of a writing process that include things like re-outlining and character backstories and adjusting plot points. And when you skip those things, the manuscript that you're left with is a lot more difficult to work with, from my experience. My manuscripts have been like that. And even though I'm also trying to not put pressure on this story to like publish it, and it genuinely is a fun story that I've just wanted to write for a while now, I also know that part of my process and part of my goal with this story is to finish it and continue after 50,000 words and edit it at some point and like be able to make the story better. And for me, if I've completely pantsed everything with disregard for questions or plot holes that I've come across along the way, then I get so overwhelmed with the mess of the draft that creates that it might die at that point. Like I might not ever pick it up again, because I know that what I've put in there just is not going to make sense, and it's going to be so much more difficult to sort through. So there's like a balance, because on the one side, I am totally all for going off the rails and trying something new in the plot and just re-outlining and changing things and winging it, and again, allowing the space to play, because this is art. We should be playing with it. But on the other hand, I know for myself personally that this is also a story that I want to finish it, and I want to be able to make it better one day. And knowing that that is a future goal for me and Project Geo means that I'm just trying to be a bit more mindful right now of how I'm writing it, and I'm making sure that I'm taking these days off to review the outline and make sure I haven't missed any major questions or plot holes. And I am putting a bit more effort into the organization of it than I would if I were just pantsing for the hell of it and just pantsing for the sake of getting the words out. But again, I feel like it's kind of a balance. How much pressure do I add to my project? How much pressure do I take away from it? How much do I plan? How much do I pants? And these are kind of just things that you figure out for yourself the more you write. What I've also been doing as I go to try and keep the momentum going, and this is something that I've suggested before, and this is a very common thing I think for authors to do. I described it in a video once, and it was like a method that had a name. I think it was like the Headlight method for outlining, and it's akin to that method, because I already have like a pretty loose outline for the entire story. But what I'm doing as I'm working through NaNoWriMo is that at the end of the day, I will try and outline the next few scenes that I want to write, or just the next single scene that I want to write, or the next chapter, or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, I will make notes on what I want to happen next, and I'll outline a little bit further ahead of me, but just like a few chapters or a few scenes. So it's not like I'm trying to sit down and outline the rest of the story at the end of every day of writing. I'm just outlining the next couple plot points that I want to happen. And I found that super beneficial because it's kind of like having a little wrap up at the end of your writing day where you can go over what has happened and what should naturally happen next. And you're also setting your future self up for success because when you open up your manuscript the next morning, knowing that for NaNoWriMo you have to write another 1,700 words, you're going to have kind of like a mini outline of the next few steps. And I think it takes away a lot of the decision fatigue and just like creative fatigue that we go through. So doing that kind of headlight method of outlining where you just outline the next few things that you can see coming has been working really, really well for me this month. So I would highly recommend if you have not tried that. I am going to end this video here. I wanted to thank Louisa once again for partnering with me on this video. Always a pleasure, always such wonderful pieces, and I get so excited to work with them. I will leave them linked down below if you're looking for some beautiful jewelry pieces for yourself or maybe for someone over the holidays. A reminder again, I do have a Patreon where I've been trying to post lots on. I also revealed my cover for the poetry collection over there and the release date, which is very exciting. So check that out. It's always linked down below as well. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.